It shouldn't be scheduled. That was earlier today's test. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Entrepreneur's Hideout. I'm Alan Edwards, your host for tonight and most every night so far. And I'm so excited to have you here, all but you one person, and you know who I'm talking to. You can catch us now or online, or if you're watching the replay, glad to have you. This is where entrepreneurs come to share your journeys and tackle challenges as well as collaborate on solutions together. Tonight, we have an incredible guest and an even more incredible audience. You. You at home too. That's right. And applause is necessary. All right, let's dive in. Please join me in welcoming our next guest entrepreneur. His name is Torin Regier. He is a business broker with Chinook Business Advisory, and he has founded two SaaS companies in the beer industry. Is that the right one? Come on up. Correct me. Yeah. So one of these softwares does keg tracking, and another is for menu boards at tap houses. Tell me a little more about this.
Yes. So it's actually a digital menu for bars, tap rooms, bars, and restaurants.
Okay.
And we also have a software to help breweries track their kegs. It's a big problem for breweries, surprisingly.
And is it the successful company? Is it still happening?
Oh, successful, yes. So successful.
Well, okay. There's only one way to fail, and that is to quit.
The company has not been dissolved, and it is operational, and we are filing our annual reports every year.
Success. And that's two separate companies.
Yes. No, we're a small company, but it's done well. We started it originally when we were in university. That was about 10 years ago, and we bootstrapped the whole thing, and we have a lean team of about 4 people. Help probably about 250 breweries around the world.
That's amazing. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
You made it.
That's what they say.
You've arrived. All right. I love starting the show with well, you know what? First, can you give me an elevator pitch? And you can pick any one of the 3 businesses you would like. Give us the 60-second elevator pitch. On your mark, get set,
Since we're talking about kegs, yeah, so breweries for the most part use spreadsheets and whiteboards to track where their kegs, and they usually own all of their own kegs and send them out to hundreds of bars and restaurants, and for the most part have no idea where they go. So we built software that uses QR codes and mobile apps that they can track where the kegs are, what's inside of them, and basically monitor their whole keg fleet and lose less kegs and get a more efficient operation.
Sounds great. I know here at Trickster's Hideout, we have Trickster's Hideout. This is where we're coming to you from. We have the problem sometimes of people not picking up their kegs, and we have a storage problem for that.
That does happen. Yeah, for the most part, it's the other problem. But breweries, if the faster they get their kegs back, they should want to get them back fast because then they can send them out again.
Right. Well, I mean, breweries are about making beer, not managing kegs, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to start the show with a fun question. What's the most insane thing a client has ever told you?
Yeah, we're pretty tame in most of my industries. I'd say the one that probably kills the most at the beer conferences is we've had a brewery that wanted to subscribe to our software because they just bought 200 kegs used, and which is probably, that would be, $10,000 to $20,000 worth of kegs.
Oh, wow.
And about half of that order was their own kegs that they had lost, and so they had actually just basically purchased stuff that they already owned.
That is a heck of a sales pitch.
Yeah,
I love it.
You can do that.
All right, great story. All right, we're going to take a short break to hear from a sponsor, and when we return, we're going to dive into how we can help you, Torin. Are you ready?
Cool.
All right, I'll be right back. Okay, we made it through the sponsor break. Thank you for watching. So let's dive in.
Cool.
You've given us a hint at how you got into this entrepreneurial journey, like college, but tell us a little more. How did you start, and what's been the most surprising part so far?
How did it all start?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of alluded. I was a fairly lost university student in business school, and luckily came across having a friend who is good at coding, and we we thought that it would be a really good idea to start a business together. We just didn't know what, and we had this idea that sort of just landed in our laps, where breweries were having this whole problem with tracking kegs, and we did no due diligence and had no idea what we were doing, but we just thought this would be a good idea to try and start a business. And whether that was worth it or not, you know what, I don't know, but it led us to where we are today. Turns out every brewery almost in the world has this same problem with tracking kegs, and we had a lot of a lot of good interest and a lot of interest in investment. But it was a bumpy ride, and we both kind of went through bouts of burnout and trying to navigate, work and school and starting a business. We kind of had some ups and downs, but generally upwards trending. And we've landed where we never ended up taking investments, so we were completely bootstrapped. We're now a lean team of 5, and we support about 200 to 300 breweries around the world. And having been in the beer industry now for the last 10 years, we've had some more ideas that have come up and other problems that breweries face. We've spun out a new company called Sippo, that is this digital taproom menu software. That's still in its early stages, but we've got about 100 or 150 kind of establishments using that around the world. In the last year, I've this has sort of become my part-time gig, and I've become really interested in the buying and selling of small businesses.
What got you interested in that?
I think I got really interested in the local small businesses probably over the last couple years. I even tried starting a cleaning company for a solid 6 months. That did okay, and then I couldn't keep up. I was actually looking at buying a business for myself, and that was I wanted a new challenge, and wanted to help an existing business and bring some modern approaches and technology and marketing expertise to them.
I feel like you just, to me, define what it means for me to be an entrepreneur, which is I like new challenges. None of these old challenges, please. Been there, done that.
There's a couple other gaps in there where I did have a full-time job, and
how'd that work out?
It lasted probably a year.
Yep.
Entrepreneur-ish. And so we, anyways, when I was looking for businesses, it was sort of interesting that the public market for buying a small business is pretty wild. It's kind of a wild west. There's not really any regulation. There isn't any regulation in Canada, actually. And
don't commit fraud. That's the regulation.
Yeah. Like, if you can.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people who are saying that they're business brokers, but they aren't. There's a lot of real estate agents out there.
Mm-hmm.
We need our real estate agents sometimes, but and so I got really interested in this whole industry of buying and selling businesses.
I was actually surprised. Like, we're in Squamish, BC. It's a very small town. I'm surprised how many businesses are for sale perpetually here.
Yeah, well, we always like to say that nobody gets in business to stay in business forever. So, I mean, we're all going to die eventually. So,
yeah, everybody has an exit plan.
Everybody has some sort of an exit plan, and ideally, we do that before it gets too bad.
Absolutely.
And
so high.
Yeah, and there's a lot of a lot of local businesses. Silver tsunami is a term that gets thrown around a lot.
I have never heard this term, silver tsunami. Tell me more.
That is a little ode to the baby boomers here that are retiring, that all own local businesses. Though people have said that this is coming for probably the last 20 years, and it's been nothing quite significant that has come to fruition. But
they keep getting back into the workforce.
Yeah, I think the retirement age keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah, it gets pushed back 1 year every year.
Yeah. And so they, anyways, the reality is there's still lots of businesses being put up for sale, and it's a buyer's market. Anyways, I got very interested in this, and I connected with a company in Victoria that agreed to kind of take me on, and I've been working with them and as a business broker now for the last year or so, helping people buy and sell small businesses.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question because I've heard this number a few times. I hope it's appropriate.
Yes.
Have you closed more than one deal in that time?
Yes.
Yes.
2.
No, selling a business it's a long game.
And this is only in the last couple weeks.
Right. So you've achieved that important hurdle of getting that first one.
Yeah. Well, we usually quote people it's about 9 to 15 months to sell a business.
You're doing the Lord's work.
I do enjoy it a lot.
Okay.
I enjoy it a lot more than tracking kegs, if I'm being honest.
Very good. So the purpose of today's show is to dig into challenges because we're probably all facing that challenge or something similar to it. And so hearing that others' challenge is secretly gratifying, but even more fun is finding a solution together that we can all apply in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a challenge you're working on that we could possibly help with?
I have no problems in my life.
All right. I found one problem already.
Yeah, so I think the problem I wanted to bring to the table here was around personal brand. Now, I've never had much of an online presence, or I mean, hey, got the LinkedIn profile. That's pretty dormant, and I have this sort of storied and diverse expertise in a bunch of weird different industries, and I've now, most of my time is focused on this business brokerage job, and so I'm looking and starting to see the importance of having more of a personal brand and persona online. Definitely don't want to be an influencer. That sounds horrible.
Well, our definition of influencer these days might be horrible, but the fact is a personal brand is an influencer, right? You are influencing your audience to do what you want them to do or to understand who you are, and that's your realm of influence. Is it a large influencer? Maybe not. Mm-hmm. But you are an influencer.
I think there's also value in, even if not just to put your expertise online, so it's almost like an online resume, so that when people actually look you up, they know that you at least know a little bit about what you're talking about, and you don't have to start from scratch when you're talking to them. So what is personal brand? And let's walk through that definition first. By the way, I'm on the exact same struggle bus right now. I have become the brand of my previous businesses. I had an IT business in the noughties. And then I changed locations geographically for a while. And then I just sold another business in which I was the brand of the company. Yeah. And every time I have an identity crisis afterwards. It's like, okay, well, I'm not that anymore. Who am I? Mm-hmm. And I'm just now at this ripe old age going, okay, I should have a personal brand as well where I can be me and I might support brands of my companies or friends' companies or whatever else. And what is that? And I'm going to maybe make the same suggestion to you. You are obviously at least a fan of entrepreneurship, yes. Right? And I think that can be your personal brand if you're looking for a persona, right? One, it's naturally you. If your persona is going to sell, it has to be authentic. Yeah. And then two, what you like doing, buying and selling businesses, the 2 businesses you've started, you obviously like this piece. And I think if you just talk about that, it can apply to everything you ever want to do. Yeah, totally. And I think it's honestly more, I think there's kind of the 2 levels. There's the strategic of, all right, what is the voice? And then there's the tactical of like, okay, what does this actually mean? Am I like writing LinkedIn posts or articles or videos or...
What do you like doing?
Honestly, none of it. But I think probably I would gravitate more towards writing.
Okay. So like I'm the same. Mm-hmm. I do not mind being on camera. Okay. However, I am terrible at talking to just a camera. Mm-hmm. It is the entire reason I created this talk show. Right. I know that I do okay with people. It's what I enjoy doing is talking and helping people and seeing the lights come on. Like, oh, that's what you meant. Yeah. But I'm supposed to deliver video content to develop my personal brand. How do I do that? So this is why I'm doing this.
Nice.
And you'll see that I cut this video up 8 ways to Sunday and post it out there. And there's another cool thing that I'm doing because I'm much better at writing my thoughts down as well. AI.
Yeah.
Two powerful little letters.
Sweet ChatGPT.
I've been playing with this. I found another software. I type up my blog type post.
Yeah.
I tell ChatGPT to how would I deliver this on camera, and it judges it up a little bit. I think it's a real word now. And I recorded a training avatar, and it now looks like me delivering it at my desk.
That sounds a little bit scary.
It's a little bit scary, but knowing my weaknesses. I mean, my first test video was ridiculous, right? You're watching me talk, and my hand goes in the middle of it. My eyes do this all of a sudden. But after 2 or 3 practices of training the avatar, it looks pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And if I want to produce daily content, now all I have to do is write it, press the send in the software, and then post it. And honestly, even writing it, doing that, and posting it takes some time because you do the video. Okay, you post the video on LinkedIn. Well, you also have to have text to go with the video. What do you write?
All right. So what's your voice going to be with all your different businesses?
I am posing as myself, who is truly a business enthusiast. I'm also a people enthusiast. And I think that's what I'm going to go with. So, and little technical things like I've started on Facebook and LinkedIn posting as me. Now, if I'm talking about something that's true and dear to EPI Consulting, they will share it.
Yep.
If I'm talking about something for MSP Hire, they will share it. Thank you to our sponsors, MSP Hire, EPI Consulting. Or the same for Trickster's Hideout. We can be funny sometimes, right? Yeah, sometimes intentionally. So I wonder what would happen if you were less intentional with that personal brand. I almost hate the fact that I said that out loud, less intentional. That sounds bad. But more open, honest.
Less thinking, more doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a common pattern.
It's a pattern for you already?
Maybe.
Well,
Whoopsies. It's kombucha.
It's that 0.5% alcohol.
It's going to get crazy.
Whoa. Yeah. I mean,
No, I agree. And I think there's also a reluctance to me. I get so exhausted by the loud voices on the internet, and to be a part of that as well feels like.
You know, another thing I had to do to help with, I have the same problem. There's so many great speakers out there, and I don't feel myself as necessarily one of them. But the fact is, people do tune in and want to hear what I have to say, so I stopped listening.
Yeah.
I've unfollowed people. I go straight to posting. I never read and post in the same day.
That's interesting.
I just post if I'm supposed to be posting right now what I have to say. Even if it's a comment on an original post, I'll read the original post. Don't read the comments. Because I'm always like, oh, yeah, they already kind of said it. It's fine. And then I never comment anything.
Yeah, I'd like to, I mean, since I'm, my main thing I'm working on is this business brokerage, and I do think that there's probably a lot or some demand at least for more knowledge and on how to buy and sell a business. I think the thing that surprised me the most about kind of getting into this industry was, I would say, probably 80 to 90% of the buyers that I work with are buying a business for the very first time. And, even though we are helping the seller, and that's who our client is, in order to get them a deal, we actually have to help buyers figure out how to buy a business. Yeah. And there are a lot of first-time entrepreneurs looking to get out of corporate life and, don't want to go through the pain of starting
so
a business.
So here's a fun, useless question. Would you consider that a business-to-business transaction, even though you're actually brokering between individuals? Like the style?
I honestly would consider this, it's, it's honestly, I see this whole job as more consumer-based than business-based. 80. Wow, I need to pull a stat out of my.
How many people are buying based on emotion versus ROI?
Like 90% of this, 80%, maybe 80 or 90, is totally just emotion management.
All right.
Yeah, and so it's from the buyer, and I'm like, is this crazy that I'm spending this much money on an intangible thing? And from a seller, is like, am I literally just giving up the last 3 decades of work to this person that I met a month ago?
It's that identity entanglement again, right? We become our businesses.
Yeah, we're right in the middle, and I get phone calls at most hours of the latest crisis. And yeah, when I got started, it was very much content is probably 20% of the job, and the rest is just dealing with emotions and talking people off cliff edges.
Don't
Not
jump,
literally.
or do. I need you to jump right now.
Yeah.
All right. So, thank you for bringing the topic to us. We're going to do a little transition here.
Cool.
So for this talk of personal brand, I hope that can apply to you guys as well. Take some notes, prepare some questions, because this could all apply to us. But we're going to take a short break, and yes, we're going to hear from one of those sponsors. Lovely sponsors, we love them. But when we return, we're going to let you guys ask questions or provide advice or share your stories with Torrin as well. And just to give you a heads up before we do that, the third section, you can ask whatever you want about your business. But for the second section, we're going to continue to put Torrin in the hot seat. That work for you? All right. So we'll be right back. Running a business can feel isolating, but it doesn't have to be. Meet Alan Edwards at EPI Consulting, a trusted partner who's been where you are and knows what it takes to succeed. With years of experience starting, scaling, buying, and selling businesses, Alan brings proven strategies and genuine care to every client. Whether you're looking to grow, solve tough challenges, or reclaim balance in your life, Alan and EPI Consulting are here to guide you. Together, we'll build a business and the life you've always envisioned. EPI Consulting. Let's make it epic together.
Buy and sell.
Welcome back, everybody. Glad you survived that very long break. It wasn't that long. Today's producer, Lonnie here, she'll be helping us with this next section. Everyone say hello to Lonnie.
Hi, Lonnie.
I heard you all online, too. Thank you for that. And now that you've met Lonnie, it's your turn to ask questions. If you're online, you can drop comments into the comment box, and we might see them, and Lonnie will read them to us. We're working hard with one monitor today instead of 2. So what questions and ideas or insights do you have for Torrin? Our live audience can walk up to the microphone beside Lonnie here. And our online audience, again, just drop it into the comments, and Lonnie will read them for us. So who would like to ask a question? Come on up. Thank you, Adriana.
Make it easy.
Make it easy.
Or hard.
I hope it is.
That's okay.
So I'm really interested. I'm a neuroscience geek. I work with people kind of into their subconscious, unraveling some of the stuff that blocks them and that kind of thing. So I'm really into the mind. And in my entrepreneurial journey, I've sort of, moved that into just really being curious, what kind of differentiates an entrepreneur, identity or passion or direction, and what is what calls someone to entrepreneurship rather than having a job. And so I'm curious to know, if you look back now, if you can see something, in your teenage years or your childhood, some qualities that kind of differentiated you from someone who was just going to have a job. What are you recognizing yourself when you look back that is that special thing that guided you towards entrepreneurship rather than the workaday?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah?
Really?
Yeah.
So I had a professor try to recruit me into teaching, and he was being clever, knowing I was an entrepreneur, and he says, "Hey, are you an only child?"
Yeah.
You are?
I am.
Okay.
This is know though.
So one of the There's some stats here. The other stat was, I don't want to get too personal unless you want to be vulnerable here. Were you the product of parents who were divorced or alcoholics or drug users, or basically were you the latchkey kid?
No.
No. Okay. And what was the third one? You had asked me three things. 2 out of 3 is a great indicator of someone who might become an entrepreneur. Oh, wait. That's the third one. Were any of your parents entrepreneurs?
No.
All right. So 1 out of 3. You can stay.
Wait, only child? That's an entrepreneur thing? Oh, really?
Only child or eldest?
Both.
Obviously.
Good at spending time alone and just thinking.
Well, I mean, the way I heard it explained to me, and again, these are all people speculating, I'm sure, is as an oldest, or you take on a management role as it is, right? You're helping to manage the household, the younger siblings, and those are some traits that can help. Like for me, my dad wasn't a very good entrepreneur, but he hated working for bosses, so he did things himself, right? He had his own truck. I mean, every job, he spent every dime he had on tools. Oh, let's make the next job easier and faster. And then there was always another tool.
Yeah.
Always the next job.
I think it's actually a really interesting question because I it honestly goes pretty deep into the imposter syndrome, because I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs that show those qualities from really early on, whether that's just starting a lemonade stand or finding creative ways to fund your university through interesting business ideas. And I was never that person. And it literally just didn't cross my mind.
But it did. In college.
Well, eventually.
You decided to start a business.
This is in like 4th year.
Okay, but what was the motivation then?
Like I've always been somebody who's open to new experiences. And I had a really persuasive friend who, convinced me that this was a good idea, and I was pretty unsure what I wanted to do. And I don't know. So I just started it, and I honestly don't even think I liked it for probably the first 5 to 7 years.
Why did you keep doing it?
I don't know. Like, I honestly look back, I was like, if I knew then what I know now, would I do it again? Probably not. Like, the pain and roller coaster of emotions, and was it worth everything? I don't know. Hey, I don't regret anything. It all leads to the path that you're on, but it was pretty shitty.
So
and it's not like we made it big and got tons of money, and we have a good solid little business that works and gets some cash flow, and I don't have to kill myself for it. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was there's a lot of imposter syndrome. Honestly, still is. I think that's why I still don't fully consider myself an entrepreneur. But yeah, you know what? I honestly don't think that you need to have those, early stage symptoms
of a disease.
Entrepreneurs, they can be pretty darn challenging to work with.
They absolutely can. I mean, for example, I don't have enough data myself to say that a lot of entrepreneurs have ADHD, but I can tell you in my former industry of the IT sector for business owners, a lot of them did.
Yeah.
And it's hard to sit still at a job and do the work. I want to flip the coin on you too.
Yeah.
You mentioned you didn't, you're not quite sure if you like being an entrepreneur, if it's you, but you did try a job and that didn't work out either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what were the things you disliked about the job front?
Yeah, and that's continues to this day that I don't like. Yeah, I don't like having an overlord. I have to be there from 9 till 5, Monday to Friday, and I get my 2 weeks of vacation, and I find that pretty suffocating. I mean, the job I worked was a I worked for a privacy consulting company that was honestly a pretty entrepreneurial job. I got to help this guy just build his business, and that was my only mandate. It just got boring after a while because my role turned into a glorified admin assistant, which, nothing wrong with that, but I just was a little bit stale for me, and so I decided to go back and build things.
So you found a way to find excitement through entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I do. I don't think I have ADHD, but maybe I do.
I also didn't think that I had it. And even after reading all the descriptors, like, no, that's not me.
Yeah.
And then a few folks in this room have pointed out over the last 6 months, they're like, you're doing this, this, and this now. I'm like, oh my God, is it contagious?
Yeah.
Have I caught ADHD from our audience? Well, I mean,
that makes sense.
I think it's because I'm running 4 businesses right now. I'm not running 4 businesses. Sorry, I have 4 businesses right now, running 2 of them. And I'm back to walking in a room and forgetting why I'm there.
Oh, yeah.
I move from task to task to task. And when I get sidetracked from finishing a task, I berate myself.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't I get this done?
Yeah, and I find it very challenging to have one job. It's insane to me. 3 jobs I've had, and that can be a lot if they're really full on. But yeah, having 2 jobs, or at least one job with a side hustle, feels like a needed
Is that
balance.
more common these days? Is it more common in our town? Why do I
Do you think
see
this is
so
the
many people
algorithms that are making us like this?
having more than one job or passion or career?
I think in our community, definitely it's the norm to have more than one job. For financial reasons mostly. Yeah.
Yeah, can we grab the mics just because everybody online can't hear you?
Maybe it's just the algorithms that are
The
giving
life
us
algorithms?
ADHD. We just can't focus on one thing.
I'm gonna sit on
Maybe.
Zach's lap and be the peanut gallery. Oh no.
Hi, Mason. What were you saying about multiple jobs?
I said that it definitely makes sense in our community to have more than one job because it's very expensive to live here. I know I work for you, and I'm very lucky to work for you, but even I have 3 jobs within my one job because
You're cheating on me?
No, like, I work 3 positions here for you on a daily basis, okay?
Good save.
On a daily basis. Sometimes 4 if Liesel's around. So, yeah.
And for those who, I think everybody these days, post lockdown, are like, oh, it's expensive to live everywhere, housing crisis everywhere, and it's a lot of places. But I did the research, and our area is the 2nd most expensive place to live in the world compared to median income.
It's
So,
disgusting.
Like you go to New York City, and it costs a little more to live there, but their average income is way higher than ours.
Look at us go.
That's
Nobody can
okay.
stop
In a
us.
few months, we'll be part of America, and and then we'll be able to take domestic flights wherever we want. It's going to be awesome.
Cheap
I heard
flights,
Trump's
baby.
buying the whole globe.
That would save me some immigration fees. All right, thank you, Mason. Do we have any more questions, comments for Torin? Come on up. Which ginger do I pick? Wherever you want to be. It's a mad attack.
Hey, Tor.
Hey.
One thing I'm curious about is you said you started your business with a business partner.
Yes.
What are some of the guidance that you'd share for people navigating a successful business partnership?
Don't.
No.
Sorry.
Choose carefully. Yeah. This would probably be going to one of our failure stories too, because we actually started our company with 3 people, and we are now down to 2. That was, let's just say, a messy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were 20-year-olds. Didn't have a shareholders agreement, and yeah, it's pretty easy to just expect everything to be fine. But yeah, when somebody starts being not a good fit, or you guys have different ideas about direction, once you got your name on the dotted line on your company, it's pretty freaking hard to get it off, unless you're amicable and can figure out a way together. So for me, like, having, I wouldn't be able to start a tech company without a technical co-founder. You could. There's ways, but it's hard.
Well, you can get
I
a
don't want to do it.
technical employee.
You get well, and this is the thing. I think that if you're starting a tech company, having a technical co-founder who's actually understands this
And invested.
industry and is invested in the success is so essential.
It's a lot easier to get 80 hours a week of code out of a founder.
Oh,
than
you
an
hear
employee.
founders trying to start a company with outsourced development talent. That's a hard road.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it done well and successful, but they brought capital.
Oh
to do
yeah,
it.
yeah. You gotta have capital,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be long because you're gonna have to go through so many iterations.
It's funny. I mean, there's a joke. It's not really a joke. Which is there's two types of partnerships: those that are forming and those that are falling apart. I know it's a kind of depressing stat, but like my first business was just me. My second business was just me, but then I sold into a partnership. You know, that partnership is rocky. Trickster has 3 partners, and it was, we're always trying to figure out how the heck are we, dealing with this. I have one partnership that's going well, but as well as it's going, I'm curious what's going to happen in 5 years.
Yeah, I'd also say if you are going into a partnership with somebody, it's really hard to do it 50-50. And
Somebody has to be in charge.
somebody has to be in charge. I would say that somebody should be in charge. Trying to do that's what I have now, and it works okay, but we've had a 10-year relationship and we both know how we operate and it works okay. But if I was starting something new, you want to have somebody who's at least leading the charge.
Something I've learned, and it's been a little hard to explain to some folks who haven't looked at this, but shares aren't the same as decision making. Like you can have a separate agreement for how many shares you own,
Correct.
separate from how you make decisions, and you could get 51% decision making with 50% of the shares.
Yep.
And you can even have a separate agreement on how you distribute profits, completely independent of how the shares are. So you have all those levers and controls that most of us are really excited when we first start and we do the simplest thing possible. 50-50, let's get started. Let's do it. That's an actual quote from me many times. Yeah.
The amount of times I've said, let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, that's also part of what defines an entrepreneur is that they're the ones who are executing.
Yeah.
I mean, being the part owner here of Trickster's Hideout, the number of times I've heard the words, you know what you should do? I mean, it's like we don't have a shortage of ideas. We have a shortage of people to execute. This is why I love people like Louise who actually put on a show for us. She runs that part, and we can go on to the next event and just support her. Looking for more
ideas
of those.
are worth nothing until they're actually.
Ideas without execution are just dreams. Wait, dreams without
Sweet
execution are
dreams.
just hallucinations. Is that the phrase? Yes. Please no. I mean, one unique one is good. Like. Any other questions for Torin before we go into the next section?
Hit
Speak
me.
of the devil, and she shall appear
Yes.
on the
Do you
microphone.
want me to-
Is that 'cause
do
she
you want
has
me to
red
sit
hair?
down, Lanny? Oh, that's okay. Okay. Hi, Torin.
Hey.
My name is Louise. My business is Step Out.
Get out.
And so it is, I do improv and applied improvisation, but it is about stepping out of your comfort zone and breaking away from fear.
Nice.
So what I want to ask you is, in terms of your personal branding,
Yes.
because what I'm hearing from you, and I went through this as well,
Yes.
right, is like knowing who you truly are
Yes.
to then authentically put yourself out there as a personal brand, right? So I fell into the trap of, I'm so unique, so I have to be like everybody else in order to sell what I'm doing. And when I did that, it didn't sell because I wasn't being authentic to myself. As after doing all of the work on myself through, personal development, human design, meditation, all of those beautiful things, I have become more confident in myself and thus more authentic and have just being like, this is me. People that are drawn to me are going to come to me because the human connection is one of the most powerful things that we have, right? And not all humans are going to connect with each other, but there is going to be humans that connect with you. There's going to be businesses that are going to connect with you. So when you are online doing your thing, whether it be video, I'm a performer. I don't like doing front-on videos on social media either.
So I tend to go with photos and writing, or I do videos of my classes or what have you. So lean into whatever feels authentic to you, but just really tap into who are you, and therefore those people are going to be drawn to you because of who you are and your uniqueness that you're going to offer to them.
Yeah.
That's all I
Great
wanted
advice.
to say.
Thank you for sharing
Yes,
that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does that help you any?
Yeah, it's a good reminder.
Like, I mean, maybe if you are a timid entrepreneur-ish person, that's your brand.
There we go.
Humble entrepreneur. How about that?
So humble. I'm the best at being humble.
There you go. We should get a prize for that.
Yeah, no, I think it's, yeah, for sure. And I you know what, I think it's also, maybe the ADHD-ness of entrepreneurship in itself lends itself to lack of identity and not actually knowing who we are. And so, yeah, I think, and what I think I know as well is that you don't know until you start putting stuff out there and, just seeing what feels good.
And don't be scared to
Yeah.
be yourself and do it.
Yeah, totally. So
You can be scared. Just don't let it stop you.
if you're scared, just do it scared, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You can start your video off with, "Hey guys, I'm a little scared about this." That's
Yeah.
authentic.
Yeah. So, yes, no, it's good advice. Just do it, as Nike would say.
I hope they sent. Did they send us money for that, or did we send them money now? I'm hoping Drew sees this. He's our Steamworks rep at Trickster's Hideout. Any more questions or comments for Torin?
Nice.
Yes.
kind of
Adriana and Lonnie, do we have any in the chat window?
So I have ADHD. I
Nice.
work with a lot of neurodiverse people. I'm also I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, but I am approved as a behavioral interventionist, so I can work with people who have federal funding for autism, things like that, when they can access that. So I have a lot of experience with people with neurodiversities, and I passed it on to all of my daughters. But one of the things that is really neat about our physiology, so when we're getting ready to go on camera, or when we're even thinking about our brand or who we are, and yeah, if we have ADHD, we've been masking since the beginning. We have either been too much or not enough our entire lives. And we haven't fit in, and we haven't known. I got my diagnosis when I was 51, and I spent 2 weeks laughing and crying and forgiving myself. And of course I didn't leave that relationship. Of course I stayed in that relationship, or got into that relationship, or I couldn't hold down a job. I can't work for anyone else. I can't work for anyone else. It does not work. But one of the neat things about neuroscience that I discovered is that and when we have that imposter syndrome, or when we're ready to put ourselves out, what happens is psychological and physiological. And we talk about mind and body as separate things. They're not. It's all connected. But one of the neat things that I learned about, from a neuroscience standpoint, is that when you're hooked up to electrodes, excitement and anxiety light up exactly the same pattern in the brain. And when we talk about excitement and we talk about anxiety, you get things like butterflies in the tummy and numb hands and all these kinds of things. And they map over. So the neat part of that is that when you are getting ready to approach something that feels anxious, you can kind of stop, step back. I call that the observer. Step back into that observer place. And that observer is a lot less emotional, a lot less tied into things. It's like, wow, I'm feeling kind of anxious here. But am I? Might it be excitement? And you can be curious about it and then take it on. No, I'm, anxious is pretty normal. I think I'm more excited. And you can choose that and go through that process. And it kind of, once you have that in the back of your mind and you can step back into that curious, what's going on here? Can I choose to be excited? That part of you is the more real you than any other part of you that tries to do, when you're in the anxiety or you're in the excitement or you're in the camera's coming on or whatever, you can step back and just go, all right. And that part of you is closer to the real you than anything we put out anywhere else.
Yeah.
So I
Totally.
hope that's helpful when you're
Thank
getting
you.
ready to do that. And introvert entrepreneurs and introvert influencers there's 8 billion of us. You've got an audience.
All right. So, yeah, business advice turned to a therapy session, I think.
They are the exact same thing. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, great.
maybe I shouldn't confess this, but especially in the early days of my previous business, I was operating the business out of the corner of a bedroom.
Yeah.
And I would start at 6 a.m. I'd start taking calls at 6 a.m. and Liesl would be off in the corner, and she would hear these things. She's like, "Are you a therapist?" I was like, "No, this is business consulting." It was like, why was he telling you about his marital problems? Like, because this is affecting his business right now. It's
Yeah.
like, so what are we talking about?
Yep.
So yeah, they're connected.
100%.
I have one question online.
Oh, great. Thank you, online question. What do we got, Lonnie?
So this question is from Matthew Conforth, and he would like to know, how much does a small business broker take in a sales transaction?
All right, let's get to it.
Tell us the dirty secrets.
All of it. Yeah, so we're a commission-based model. So take a percentage of the final transaction fee. There's a little bit of a range, but usually around the 10% mark for like the first million. And that sort of goes down from there. But yeah, our success or our fee is contingent on a successful transaction. There's a nominal engagement fee that gets deducted off the final commission, but yeah, it's usually around that range.
I sold my first business via a business broker. It was a really strange deal. I was having a health crisis, and the total value of the deal ended up coming in really low.
Yeah.
Like too low to pay the business broker. Well, the actual deal value was different, so we ended up negotiating and finding a flat rate, and he was happy with that because he'd done this work for years to get the business sold. It's like, okay, how do we compensate you in a fair way that also doesn't sink the deal?
Yeah.
So everything's negotiable, too.
Everything is negotiable. I would be cautious of any business brokers that just list your business without any questions. That usually goes down a road of they should have an idea of whether it's sellable or not, and honestly, they should be picky about taking it on because it is a lot of work, and not all businesses are created equal, and so they, Anyways, we're a little bit different from real estate agents, and so we do have a higher commission model, but there's a lot of work that goes into selling a business, and yeah, it's not just quite slapping a listing on a website and just hoping. So yeah, we do a lot of preparation work, and when it comes to calculating values and prepping it for market.
I'm going to speak from both sides of my face here. Your best business doesn't need a business broker to sell. Your competitors will buy you in a heartbeat at a well-known multiple. At the same time, if you've never done it before, hiring a business broker, just the very fact of their due diligence, trying to get information to buyers, I learned so much in my first 3 unsuccessful offers that drastically improved my business for the next time.
Yeah, we've, so don't quote me on this, but somebody told me about a study that said usually businesses will see roughly around a 20 to 25% increase in value in what they can get for their business when using a business broker. A good one.
And that's probably not just because you hired a business broker, it's because you're taking their advice on how to fix things in your business.
And that's what we will, we have these conversations all the time where business owners will come to us and say, my business is worth $1 million. And, from our analysis and experience, it's like, I guess probably closer to 300. And those are really hard conversations to have. Nobody wants to be the one to tell you that, what everything you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into is just not worth what you think it is. But the market is the market, and pricing accurately is probably well, it's a really important part for actually getting traction and finding a qualified buyer. And so, it usually, just by doing that due diligence up front, and the other part of this too is that when you're selling your business, you have to keep running your business. And if you let things fall and maybe you're really profitable and your profits drop by 30% because you're so busy trying to sell it, that's going to come right off your value.
Yep.
So
work harder.
Yeah. Get more hours in your day.
Okay, wow, that was great, guys. Thank you so much for your participation. It really does take a village. When we return from our next sponsor break, we're going to change the format just a little bit more and turn the tables, and we're going to let you guys ask questions for your own benefit. We can all weigh in. Other audience members online can weigh in. We can weigh in. So prepare your questions or go ahead and pop them in the online chat. During the break, you can go and get them ready, and we'll be right back.
Recruiting for managed service providers isn't like hiring for just any business, and that's why MSP Hire exists. We specialize in finding top-tier talent for MSPs through a thorough, multi-step screening process designed to save you time and frustration. Unlike other hiring services, we don't flood your inbox with endless resumes. Every candidate we present has been carefully vetted through multiple stages of evaluation. By the time they reach you, they're ready for your final interview, not a first glance. From IT technicians to account managers, we understand the roles that make MSPs tick, and we know how to find the right people to fill them. Stop wasting time on unqualified applicants and let MSP Hire deliver candidates who are ready to make an impact on your business. MSP Hire, helping MSPs find great people.
And we're back. Now it's time to tackle your questions. Whether you're here or online, let us know what's on your mind. We'll put our heads together. So again, if you have a question you would like to ask for your own benefit, or if you just want to weigh in on other stuff, now's your chance. Now's your podium. And again, online, just make a comment, and Lonnie will read it out to us. So what questions do we have? Please step up to the mic.
Everybody has all of their problems solved already.
Oh, just like you.
Yeah, life's so easy.
Right? All right, Adriana's going to support us. Thank you.
I can always talk. At this point, do you have a future life that you're building towards, or you just kind of keep going? Like, do you want to get it so that it's running itself, or do you figure you're going to kind of be in 12 different iterations by the time you get to that point? I'm kind of at the point, I just turned 58. I'm like, I've got fewer, starting a business at 56. I've got fewer years ahead of me, but you're younger. But do you have kind of a, are you so enmeshed in your business now that do you have an end goal?
Do I have a vision?
Is that
what is all
even
this for?
realistic to
What's
look
all this
at
for?
this point?
What's the meaning of life? Yeah, I don't know.
42.
I know more than I did when I was 20.
Thank
so
God.
that's progress. Yeah, I've been having a lot more clarity, I would say, over these last couple years. And I honestly got into this business brokerage business last year, so I'm pretty new still. And it was, it was a bit of a risk in just trying this out, and I honestly didn't know if I was going to like it. I do. It's fun. Yeah, so I was always like, all right, if I like it, great. I found something I enjoy doing. If not, I'll learn how to buy my own business and go buy something else. And so now that I've been in this and I actually quite enjoy it and I want to keep doing it, I think in my long-term future, I'd like to keep building up this skill set and, obviously keep investing in other businesses. I really, I think you were asking me before my why. And I think, whatever cliche, but I've come to realize how much I enjoy helping people. And at least this is a way that I know how. And we get to work with a lot of people in one of the biggest and bigger transitions in their life. There's quite a sense of fulfillment in being able to help people with that. I really enjoy working in the small business space, and another cliche, backbone of our economy, but I do really think that's true. I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I'd like to kind of keep building this and, investing in other businesses as well.
That personal brand thing, like people in this big transition, helping people, like if we can just cut that and put it in a box, that's your personal brand.
You found it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm
All right.
inspired.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well asked and well said. Real quick, does anybody want to share, if they have a business, what their long-term motivation is for this?
Ooh.
For your entrepreneurship, whether it's this business or another. Like, I can tell you mine, I have always desired to set up businesses as passive income. I enjoy not only helping people, but I enjoy automation. And when I say automation, I don't mean like robotic automation. I mean like, all right, we have a process. We have a bar manager who runs the bar. I have a marketing manager who does the marketing, and they have processes they follow. And all we have to do is turn these little levers, and then we can serve our public. I heard I think this is from the book The Millionaire Mindset by T. Harv Eker. I hope I got that right. And here I go into a segue. I grew up pretty poor. I was homeless just 8 years ago. And people don't make $1 million, so they don't have a millionaire mindset. I mean, I like to think of it like Donald Trump in the 80s. He went bankrupt again. In fact, I heard a quote recently where he was impressing some girls, like, see that homeless man over there? He has $900,000 more than I have, because he had negative $900,000, or maybe it's 900 million, big number, whatever it was. But within a year, he was a millionaire again. And the reasoning in this book is simply because he thinks in terms of $1 million. When he thinks in 2 commas. I was raised where $10 is a lot of money. And I like to think that I've grown a lot, but I have self-identified that I have a 100K mindset, right? I tend to hit that number in my life, and then I do something that feels like a setback or a knockback.
Yeah.
And the last thing was that I had 100K, and I have 4 businesses now, so I'm hoping that's not a knockback, but so far it has been. It'll grow. And so how do we think bigger? Because how many of you provide a service, whether it's a job or whatever else, that hurts people? No one? No. Oh, okay. We have a couple of hands that I hope are in jest. I hope we're serving people. But
alcohol, yeah.
And good times and experiences. So if you truly believe in the positive you are giving to your clients, patrons, customers, whatever you call them, how dare you deprive everybody who hasn't heard of you yet? Right? We are not being greedy. There are greedy behaviors in the world, but simply by serving more people, we're not being greedy. Is it our duty to get the word out about how we can make people's lives better? Yes, in our current economy, we exchange money for those services to get our other services that we want. I don't know very many poor philanthropists, right? In order to give, you have to take care of yourself first. And of course, in order to trick question, I'll just give you the answer. The purpose of all business is, the answer is not to make money. The answer is to serve a need, to fill a need, right? So the byproduct of filling a need in business is profit, is money. And so we have to get those dialogues in our head out, which is why I love passive income, because when I do that, I'm creating jobs, I'm serving more people, and that's what I like to do. I can serve more people by scaling up than I can by keeping it small. And that mentality is not for everybody. We're each unique in that way. Mason, what was your question?
I just wanted to give Torin a moment to maybe shamelessly plug one of his listings he has. Is there anything turnkey that you have right now that you think could really benefit the community that somebody could take on?
Well, we operate under pretty strict confidentiality, so yeah. No.
Where can we find your listings?
If you go to Chinook Business Advisory, chinookmabb.com, I think. You can see all of our public listings and sign those NDAs, and you can then you can get more details.
What's funny is a small town. I'm looking at business listings that are trying to be coy, and they're being coy like, 73-person restaurant with 12 persons patio. I was like, oh, that's so and so.
Yeah, the small towns are challenging. Sometimes we go pretty broad, and you're like, this is a restaurant in BC. You could be anywhere. But yes, it's confidentiality is hard. It's a constant struggle, actually.
Yeah. Very good. Well, that was great. Thank you so much, Tori.
Thank you.
We're gonna do a quick one last sponsor. I promise it's the last one. It'll be brief, and then we'll come back. All right, let's do it.
Totally a plug, though.
All right, we have one more comment that came up, and it seemed fitting, so we're gonna let it happen. Go ahead, Zach.
All right, thank you. Seeing as I showed up a little late, but you seem to be a broker.
I am, yes.
So we do this conference once a year. It's called Be the Better Broker. It's hosted by a man named Dustin Woodhouse, who has published many books on being a broker.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be hosting at the Paradox next year in January, and we're also bringing in a slew of other brokers to just come and talk, and it's for people who seem to have an attitude like yourself. There's a lot of car salesman attitude type brokers out there.
You want better
and
brokers.
We want better brokers, exactly. We want people who have a good attitude about it and legitimately want to help people, and that's what the room is full of, and that's what that conference is all about, and you'd meet a lot of like-minded people there, I think.
There you go.
Sounds lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Why don't they call you Richers instead of brokers?
Richers?
Yeah.
Nice one.
Answer that next time. All right. I'd like to thank you all for being a part of tonight's episode of the Entrepreneurs Hideout. We've had an amazing insights. Thank you all. Powerful collaboration and some fun and some laughter. I love that part. A big thank you to our guest, Torin. Our incredible live audience. And everyone watching from home in your underwear. For those of you in the room, those who could be in Squamish, BC, we do have a karaoke every Thursday right after the show. It's actually every Thursday at 7 p.m., which also happens to be after the show. We've also added karaoke after Bomb Comedy on last Friday of the month. Trying something different. After you laugh, you get to sing. I would normally end by telling you we'll see you live the fourth Thursday of every month. However, my wife and I have decided to try a European vacation on a budget. So we are going to skip next month, and we'll be back in, what month is it? We'll be back in May for the next show. Until then, watch the replays. Stay curious, stay collaborative, and let's make it epic. Good night, everyone.